Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to watch a short game from Wesley So. He's a three-time Filipino chess champion, and he's the youngest chess player to cross 2700 ELO rating.
Yeah. Hi. Yeah, so today we're gonna watch an exciting game that was played by Wesley So. So I would also say that now he's number 8 or 9 in the world. I think that he shares this rank with Mamediyarov, Grandmaster from Azerbaijan. So, and I'm really excited to show this game to you. So let's start. In this game, Wesley So played black. I think that this game was played 6 or 7 years ago in the United States Team Championship. So he played black and Sicilian happened. So e4, c5, knight f3, d6. Yeah, so one of the most famous and popular variations. So knight takes d4. So decided to develop the knight to f6, attacking the pawn on e4. So of course white has to protect it. Knight c3 was played. A6. So you should know that the name of this variation of Sicilian is Najdorf. So Najdorf system in Sicilian defense. So typical move for this position, bishop e3 for white. So not a bad place where you can develop the dark square bishop. And in this position, So made an interesting move. So not so popular, but very interesting. He played knight to d7. Yeah, knight from b8 goes to d7. Probably some more popular moves in this position could be e5. So white has a choice where to move the knight to f3 or b3. Maybe even knight to b3 would be nice. Or instead of playing e5 in this position, black also can play knight to g4. Yeah, so the plan is simple. We want to trade the knight to a bishop. Of course, white doesn't want to let us do this. So white could play bishop to g5. Yeah, and usually we play h6. Bishop goes to h4, g5, bishop g3. Yeah, and of course, if we have this pawn structure at the king side, it means that we have to develop the bishop to g7. So looks a little bit like a dragon, yeah, but not usual dragon. Yeah, so I think interesting position for black. But let's go back to the game. So Wesley So preferred to play knight to d7 in this position. So, and white answered g4. So let's think all together why did white do this? So what is the main idea of playing g4? What do you think, Tara?
Maybe they want to go g5.
Yeah, of course. So white just wants to attack the knight. Yeah. So that's why black wants to prevent this and not let white play in g5. So black plays h6. Let's think all together. Would it be good to play, for example, h4 in this position, or it's not so good? So does it help to play g5? What do you think about these rooks?
It
Yeah,
doesn't.
yeah. So I suppose that in this position, it would be very good for black to play knight to e5, attacking the pawn on g4. Yeah, and of course g5 doesn't work in this position because when we capture with a pawn, h4 pawn is pinned. So it's impossible to take with a pawn. Yeah, so it means that this whole plan doesn't work. And this is why playing h4 in this position is not so good. So in the game, bishop g2 was played. So now let's think what can we do in this position. So maybe it's time to improve a position for the knight on d7.
Maybe knight to e5.
Yeah, of course. So e5 would be a very good position for the knight, yeah? We still attack the pawn, yeah, so it means that now white has to protect it. h3 was played, yeah? So now let's think how we can improve this position. What could be a plan? So probably for beginners, this position would be very unusual. Usually you know that in the opening you have to develop your pieces, control the center, put your king in safe, yeah, and So of course we should think about development first. But let's have a look at the position of the black pieces. I think that this knight is pretty strong on e5. And of course, I don't want white to play f4 in this position, yeah, because I don't want my knight to move away from the center. This is why I would say that in this position, it would be great to prevent playing f4, yeah? So Tara, what ideas do you have? What can we do against f4?
Maybe black can play g5.
Yeah, g5, yeah. So interesting move. So we control f4, and at the same time we probably want to develop the bishop to g7. Yeah, I think it's possible maybe later. So g5 was played. Queen goes to 2. Yeah. So now let's think what could be our plan in the near future. So I think that after queen e2, yeah, it should be clear that white, of course, wants to castle to the queen side. So what about black? Do you think that it would be safe to put the king at the king side in this position?
I don't think so because the pawns are on g5.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So sometimes, like, it's a good plan to castle to the queen side, yeah? So first, I think that we can develop the bishop, yeah? Where would be a good position for it? I don't think that bishop e6 would be nice. Yeah, we can't move it to f5 or g4 because we're gonna lose a piece. So it means that we have just one square. It's bishop to d7, yeah? So castle. And now probably, of course, we can move the queen somewhere. Yeah, but where? To c7 or to a5? Probably not to b6 because I don't want to have a queen on the same diagonal with a bishop. Um, yeah, and we can try to castle to the queen side. Or maybe in this position, the king feels pretty comfortable staying at the center. And this is why we can wait with castle a little, yeah? And maybe we can just try to control this half-open file with the rook. So what do you think, Tara?
I think it would be a good idea to move the rook to the half open
Yeah. So right now, position at the center is closed, and the black king feels comfortable staying on e8. Yeah, so we don't have to hurry up with castle. Okay, so and also after rook c8, black has a typical plan, positional sacrifice on c3. So for example, if white doesn't move the knight in this position, what can we do? Yeah. So for example, white can play rook to f1, white to f1. Yeah. Why not to e1? Because after this, like f4 looks like a nice idea. So if white doesn't take care about this knight and doesn't move it away, so we can try this typical for this position's sacrifice of exchange. Yeah. The pawn captures. And now you see that white's pawn structure is not so good, yeah? And probably we have a very good square for the knight on c4. So we can move the queen to c7 or to a5, yeah? I would say that even c7 would be better in this position. Why? Because white can't attack the queen. If we play queen to a5, yeah, it looks like a double attack. We attack two pawns on a2 and c3. But after king b2, yeah, white will move the knight to b3 with tempo. So we don't want this. And that's why we just move the queen to c7. Yeah, so after this, we can play e6. Yeah, for example, if we want to control f5 and we don't want to let this knight to get there. Yeah, and then we can move the knight to c4. So a lot of weak dark squares. Yeah. Maybe after playing e6, we also can try to use this diagonal for the bishop. And of course, this position could be difficult for white. So just try to memorize this idea. Yeah, if your opponent attacks the knight on c3, keep in your mind this possible positional sacrifice of exchange. So of course, Wesley Sau's opponent was probably a grandmaster. So and of course he didn't let black take this knight. So that's why in the game after rook c8, knight d5 was played. Yeah. Okay, so what would we do in this position? Let's think, Tara. Would it be good for us to trade the knights and open this file for the white pieces, or it wouldn't good for us?
I think it wouldn't be good for us because our king is in the center.
Yeah,
And
of
if we
course.
open the file,
Yeah, so if we didn't castle, we shouldn't open the center. We shouldn't let our opponent to open any files at the center. Yeah, so of course we don't take this knight. So Wesley so decided to attack it. And instead of moving the knight away, yeah, white decided to play f4. Yeah, so like counter-attack. Of course, we don't capture the knight on d5 for the same reason, because we don't want to open position at the center. Yeah, so that's why after f4, we just capture the pawn. So pawn takes, yeah, white has to capture with a knight, yeah, because there is still a pawn on e6 that is attacking it. So knight takes f4. Okay, now let's think what we can do. Maybe in this position it would be a good time to move black pieces closer to the white king. So let's think which pieces can we move. Maybe the knight from e5 can get closer to the queen side.
maybe the knight can go to. It could go to c4.
Yeah, so knight to c4 looks nice. Yeah, we attack b2, we attack the bishop at the same time. Yeah, later we can also use a queen, move it closer. So white plays knight to d3, yeah, protecting b2, and like knight safeguards position of the king. So now probably we want to attack the knight from d4, yeah. So it's protecting c2, so b3. So maybe we just want to attack it. So this is why we play e5. Maybe it would be a little bit better for white to move the knight back to b3. Yeah, in the game, white played knight to f5. So now it's time to move the black queen closer to the position of the white king. So what ideas do you have? Where would be a good place for the queen, Tara?
Maybe queen to a5 or queen
Hmm.
to. Yeah.
Yeah, I think queen to a5 is a nice move. Yeah. So we attack the pawn. So that's why white plays king to b1. Yeah. So I still don't see what we can do with a dark square bishop. Yeah, it's still undeveloped. But usually in chess it's very good to improve position of your pieces. So maybe we can try to improve position of the light square bishop if we can't do the same with the dark square bishop. So what can we do? Where would be a good square for the light square bishop? And maybe it also can help us to attack the queen side.
Bishop b4.
Mm-hmm. Bishop b5, you mean? Yeah. Okay, bishop
Bishop
to
b.
b5. Yeah, but it looks more that your bishop wants to have a look at the king side instead of the queen side. Yeah, but yeah, maybe bishop to b5 is also a nice move in this position. So, but let's think where else can we move it?
Or bishop e6.
Yeah, so in the game was played bishop to e6. Yeah, so it looks like an X-ray. Yeah, so the bishop who wants to attack a2. Okay, so of course white has to take care about this because we have some ideas with knight takes e3, for example, yeah, and then taking the pawn. So couldn't be good for white, of course, or maybe even knight to d2. So that's why white safeguards position of the king and plays knight to c1. Yeah. Okay, but we still have a strong knight on c4, so it's attacking the pawn on b2. Yeah. So how else can we attack the pawn? So what can we do?
Queen b5.
Yeah, queen b5. So queen b5, not queen b4. Yeah, because the same time we are at the same diagonal with a white queen, and we keep in our mind some ideas about discovered attack. Yeah, so the knight can check on a3. Yeah, we open up diagonal for the queen, so would be nice tactics idea. So right now, white queen is protected. Yeah, so it looks like knight a3 doesn't make any sense. But let's see what happens after this in the game. First of all, white has to take care about the pawn on b2. So this is why c3 was played in a game. Yeah, and after this, Wesley So found a very interesting combination. Yeah, actually, it's not so difficult. So first of all, we start with capture, yeah, and we take the knight. So, and after this move, chess player who played white just resigned. Yeah, but let's look a little bit deeper in the position and try to find why did white resign in this position. So what happens after the pawn captures the bishop? So what black can do in this position?
I think there's an idea of knight a3 check.
Yeah, okay, so it's check, but we don't win the queen, yeah, because it's protected. So what happens then?
Queen takes e2.
Knight takes.
Now we play knight c2.
Yeah, knight goes to c2, so it's a fork, and we get the bishop. So now let's go back a little. So this is why it was important to take this knight. It looks like destruction of defense, yeah? The knight was a defender of the bishop on e3, yeah? Right now this bishop has two defenders. So we start with a knight, yeah? Then we want to like to capture the queen, and now the bishop is unprotected. So after knight to c2, yeah, we just get an extra piece. Yeah, so of course, usually when grandmasters loses their pieces, they just resign. So yeah, very nice game, and so Wesley So really made some problems for his opponent in this game. So very nice.
I think in that game we saw how he slowly put his pieces to the best squares. They were aiming toward the king, and then he was able to strike.
Yes, of course, you're right. So don't
So,
forget to improve position of your pieces.
so I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please make sure to like, subscribe, and share this video to others. And I'll see you on my next video. Bye!
Bye!